G2 Curvature Continuity everywhere in an Alias project. Let's use a project folder where you have both a PIX and wire subfolder. Set some tolerances, think about what kind of units or continuity that is necessary. If it's just for yourself, go for user defined. Choose the project, secure that you have this PIX and wire folder. Go for the main folder and choose set current. Let's do a bounding box as a reference. It helps a lot, trust me. It will make it also easy to move in the images later. Be organized, use layers. You could change the size with the information window. You don't need it, but it's handy when you would like to key in values for X, Y, and Z direction. Positioning a bicycle is a little bit different on different car companies. In this case, we're just doing this MC fairing for ourselves, so it doesn't really matter. So I like to have it on top of the grid. Use the pivot point, the handle, position the handle, and then secondly, move the actual object to the place you would like to have. Use layers and then drag and drop the first image. Scale it. Position it. Use the bounding box. In this case, we're just using the length of the bounding box. You can see that the height is not really accurate on this bounding box. So we will adjust the bounding box to the image later on. So the main reference here will be the length. And try to use the X-axis. When you have adjusted the bounding box, it's time to hide the image that you have moved in first, because otherwise it will not work with the drag and drop. So secure that you have it hidden, and then you could drop in the next one. Same procedure again. Scale, position. You could also use, instead of using the marking magnets for move, you have this gadget for positioning that you could find in the palette under transform. So if you prefer that one, you could use that. I like to make like a little room, so I position it behind. And remember to have it hidden in the layer, assign it to the layer, and then you could continue with the next image shortly. So now we have the last image, the top one here. So we just try to position it, and we're just eyeballing this. If you have done the sketches yourself by hand, it will never be perfect. So we need to be aware that this is just approximate. The bounding box though is very exact. We have keyed in the dimensions there. So use these layers and lock them when you're happy with the result. So then you're secure that you're not changing them by mistake. Save the file. Always use save as. and you could make a new version. If you like, you could also adjust the grid. So sometimes that could be nice, so you don't have a bigger grid than you need. So you could choose both the spacing but also the extent, and the extent dimension goes from the 0 point and out. So here we try with 10 millimeter with the grid there, and we also have like a subdivision there, so we have other kind of grid lines in between, so we could snap to. The grid is bigger than it actually looks like. It's infinite. Good.